We're back out again in the Lake District, and I'm honestly so surprised. I think this is the first time in about 2 years that I've been to Langdale Valley and it's not been pouring with rain. And I say this every time I'm here because it's usually absolutely hammering it down. But to my surprise, I was expecting bad weather, but it's 19 degrees down at the car, and I'm pretty sure it's not far off that here. There's a little bit of a breeze and it's honestly a blessing at the minute. So I'm going up the band today. I've not decided where I'm going to camp. It's either going to be up and left to Crinkle Crags or up and right to Bowfell. So I'm just going to keep going up the band, up past the Climbers Traverse, and I'll decide the higher I get where I'm going to camp. It's a really good vantage point of the Langdale Pikes. I took a couple of pictures there. Moody clouds above it. Says it all about Langdale, doesn't it? Okay, I've made a decision on which direction I'm going to head today, and I'm sitting just below where the path splits off for the Climbers Traverse up to Bowfell. And so I've got Bowfell in front of me there, and then I've got Crinkle Crags to the left. The path splits off now over to the right hand side of Bowfell and follows it round the outside of it, underneath the lip of it, and follows a load of really good, really cool rock formations. So there's a bit of cloud coverage actually on the top of Bowfell, but that'll move throughout the day. I'm not too worried about that. So let's split off this main path now and get onto the Climbers Traverse, and I'll bring you back when we've got some great views over there. So this is the start of the famous Climbers Traverse, and initially when you hear those words you think, you're dreading it a little bit because you're thinking, what am I going to have to climb? But honestly, it's kind of just a path that follows this rock face around to the right hand side, and then it's a fairly steep climb up to the summit of Bowfell, and where you can see them clouds just coming out from the rock face, that's where we're going to turn a left and go up towards the summit. So anyone that is familiar with the Wainwright Diaries and has looked at Bowfell in the Southern Diaries book, they'll see that there is a section about this route, and there's a few diagrams showing the rock formations and some of the scenes that I can see before me. But since those books were released, there's been a couple of landslides in this area and the rock formations changed slightly. Sun's starting to come out. That means it'll be clearing up on the top and we'll get some brilliant views from the summit. Fingers crossed. So it's been quite dry for the last couple of days, and I did anticipate there being a little bit more water than there has been, but unfortunately there's not been that much water on my way up, and just underneath this rock face I can hear some water trickling down the rock. So let's try and find where that is and get ourselves some water. You can hear it. Right down behind the rock down there. There's water there, but that doesn't look too good. But that rock, that water sounds like it's flowing quite a lot, so I don't know. Might just get some of that, you know. Yeah, let's just get some of this. Let's just get some of this. Can't imagine this is going to be the nicest of flavours. I will squeeze the first bit out. That's alright actually. So we've come a little bit further across on the traverse, and the automatic assumption is that we would drop down here and come up in between these two pikes here, but we don't actually. We go down to the bottom and we turn sharp left. We follow it up over what is known as the Bowfell Great Slab, and you'll see why it's called that very soon. So that's the Great Bowfell Slab, and you can see why it gets its name. And that's actually quite a notorious spot for injuries in the winter when the snow's there. And I'm sure you can imagine why. If you take a slip at the top of that when it's covered in snow and you have no idea what's underneath, you'll go straight down, and if you're lucky, you'll hit the boulder field. If you're not so lucky, you go straight off the edge there to a 200-300 foot drop. That took a turn for the worse, a little bit morbid, but yeah, that's what it's known for. That's what all the stories are about. So I'm now out of the Climbers Traverse. I'm back onto the main path, and the summit is in sight. So we'll get up there, take that one off, and then we'll start looking for somewhere to put the tent. Wow. Incredible. The views from here are surreal. You see Scafell Pike, Scafell, the entire Scafell range, Great End. Wow. the tent up. Found a nice little spot just after the Three Tarns with a view of the Bowfell range. And you know what? It's a super flat pitch. Really happy with that. I've ditched the footprint today. I've left it at home. I've just come without it. This ground's pretty good, drains pretty well, so. And I've got myself a little table as well to do me cooking on later. So I'm quite happy here. It's drizzling with a little bit of rain at the minute, but I'm happy. Right, let's talk a little bit about kit. Not something I normally do, but I figured with it being such a calm night, it's a good opportunity to show you what I've brought with me. So, start with the tent and the shelter. It's the Hilleberg Akto red label. It's a 4-season tent. Definitely overkill for conditions like this, but I'm not going to be using it all year round, and I thought, yeah, I'll use that for another couple of camps, just so I'm using it. And I love this tent, I absolutely love it, and I want to use it a little bit more before I pack it away for the summer. Go to look at cooking stuff. I've got the Alpha pan with me, which I'm going to be cooking my meal in tonight. Jet boil for making tea and coffee and stuff like that. Going to the sleep system, I've got the Thermarest Neo-Air. It's just a normal Neo-Air. This is one that I use pretty much all year round. Keeps me nice and warm. And then I've got the Rab Ascent 900. I'm quite a cold sleeper, so I generally use this most of the year apart from the summer. And then I've gone super luxury tonight. I've got a inflatable pillow, and then I've got a Thermarest recycled like a recycled memory foam inside there, and I always sleep really well whenever I use that, so that's definitely a bit over the top, but I figured, hey, if I can carry it, why not have a comfy camp? So yeah, that's everything I brought with me today, apart from clothes and stuff like that. But yeah, I brought with me a meal that I can cook up in the pan, and it's always nice to have something a little bit more real rather than a dehydrated meal every time you go camping. So that's what I've brought with me, so I'm looking forward to taking the time to cook that outside later. And if it stays like this, I'll do all my cooking outside. Yeah, I've come away from the water a little bit just because it is midgie season and I don't want my camp to be ruined by midgies. And if I need more water, which I probably don't because I've got like 2.5 litres now, I'll go over to the water and get some more in my filter. But for now, look at that, that is perfect for cooking on. Absolutely. Oh, that's sorting me out. Just look at that view. They call that range of mountains formally the Bowfell range. Informally they call it the throne of the gods. And yeah, there's probably bigger mountains in other places, but these are the mountains that I know. These are the mountains that I come to. And that is the throne to me. You know, I was in two minds about coming this weekend. I was supposed to come tomorrow with a friend, but the weather tomorrow is the total opposite of today. And I'll admit it, sometimes you are in a bit of a slump about coming camping. And this weekend was definitely one of those days where I just thought, I think I'll just give it a miss. But I changed my mind. I decided that, you know what, no, I say this every time, and every time I get out of there, I'm instantly thrown back into the mindset of understanding why I come here. The minute I've just put my tent up, got a coffee and just sat here and looked out at that view, that's why I do it. That's why we do it. It looks like there's some rain coming in from the southwest. It's a lot clearer out towards the west, but there's rain definitely falling that way, and that is the way the wind is coming, so I fully expect that at some point within the next couple of hours we're going to get a bit of rain. It's about to hit us. Whether this is going to clear or pass, I don't know. It's quite cool to watch it unfold before you sometimes, even if it means you're going to get a bit of rain. Wow, look at that. Look at that now. See, it's lifting up the mountain. Wow, it's brought a bit of a chill, that. Cool. Right, I think before this rain gets any worse, I'm going to retreat to my tent for half an hour. See if it goes away. So the rain's arrived. Looks like I'm going to be tent bound for a bit. I think what I'll do is I'll have another hot drink, and then I think I'll start doing some cooking and hope that this somewhat clears for at least a decent photo. A little bit of cooking and show you what I've brought with me. At least I know I've got my lantern on, but we've got a little bit of light on the outside still. So, first ingredient, pretty simple. Golden vegetable rice. Next ingredient is courgette, which I've diced up and put into a little miniature Nalgene bottle. And then the last thing is one of these smoked sausages. And I'll break that up a little bit and fry them off a little bit so it gets a nice little bit of char to it. And then over the top of that, I sprinkle this, which is Cajun spice mix. Now, I used to order from HelloFresh. We don't order from it anymore, but they always used to send like double the amount of spices that you'd ever use. So they come in really handy for like that kind of thing. So I've got the jet boil stove, which you've got the attachment on it, which stops the actual plastic bit on the jet boil from burning, means you can put a skillet on top. And I have got some ventilation here. Obviously I've got the top vent open on the Hilleberg. So first of all, I'm just going to chuck in the courgette and get that cooking off. Just going to use a little bit, probably half of it. Maybe I'll have the rest of it for breakfast in the morning. So courgettes are just browned a little bit. Sausage in there too. Add a little bit of the spice to it. I never really use the full packet, just a little bit. There we go, so the rice is in and it's just reducing down. Once that's reduced down, it's pretty much done. Really easy and really quick meal that I've made loads of times while I've been camping. And I don't really have to carry that much. And using the little Nalgene bottles like that to keep your fresh veg or protein like chicken and stuff in works really, really well. The rain's here to stay, I think, so I'm going to eat this and get out and tighten up all the guy lines, because it's still nylon. Once it gets a little bit wet, it kind of goes slack, so just tighten all them up. And then I think I'm here for the night now, to be honest. So silicone nylon, which is what Hillebergs are made out of, has a tendency to go slack when it gets wet, and as you can see the tent has gone a bit slack, so we just pull the guy lines tight again and tighten it up, and that water starts to bead off again. Well, I expected to see a few more lanterns down there. With it being such a popular spot for a viewpoint of the Scafell range, I expected to see a few. But I think it's just me. So if anyone can see this lantern, I'm sure it's shining bright up here. The light is pretty much almost gone, which is why I've got this out. But you can just see the outline of the Scafell range, the clouds just licking the top of them. I didn't think we were going to get a view. I thought once that cloud rolled in, that was us done. But no, it's here. But the cloud is still really thick to the south, so I think this is just a 20-minute break in the weather before more cloud coverage comes and consumes us for the night. So I think I'll get back in my tent. I'll get into my sleeping shorts, which I've brought with me today, and a fresh t-shirt. And I've got a couple of podcasts to listen to and more than likely fall asleep to. So I'm going to finish my drink and then get in the tent. Alright, so if I don't see you in the morning for an amazing sunrise, I'll see you for a claggy morning. Good night. Well, welcome back to a very claggy, damp morning. Alright, let's make coffee, have some breakfast. Well, let's get off this fell. So I'm going to finish this coffee and I'm going to get most of the water off that tent and I'll be gone. Oh. Really nice flat pitch though. Slept like a log last night. It was very comfortable. And I think I'm going to have to switch to me two-season bag now because I was too warm in that Rab sleeping bag last night. Just way too warm. I think I ended up sleeping with both my legs sticking out to try and stay cool in it, but yeah, the sun's actually just starting to penetrate through some of that clag over there. So who knows, I might get lucky here. Might get lucky. This here is the Three Tarns, which you can see on the Wainwright maps and on the OS maps when you look through them. So you've got one in the back here, a smaller one at the front, and the largest one in front of me. That's where I got my water from last night. Seemed okay, pretty clear. And my tent's just down there. But I'll tell you what, that's actually giving off quite a nice glow. There's my patch of dry grass from the night, and as always we leave no trace. We leave everything the way that we found it. Whoa, how'd you get up there, fella? Jesus. Oh my God. An athlete? I didn't know sheep could jump.